Well, howdy, everyone. I'm sitting out here in my ranch. I wish. It's my backyard again, but I'm trying to pretend I'm on the ranch because today's story is about the Cowboy and the Black-Eyed Pea by Tony Johnston and Warren Ludwig. But again, because they're out in the backyard, I have to remember that there are birds and critters and other things out here that like to enjoy the outside too, but I think they're just enjoying my story. So hopefully you will too. Are you ready? Sit back and enjoy because we're going to talk about longhorns. Do you know what a longhorn is? Well, it's a big bull with cows and bulls with big horns. They're like long horns. You got two of them. So that's what this story is about. Well, the cowboy and the longhorns. Oh, and some other people too. All right, here we go. Sure you can see it now. Out where coyotes serenade the moon and sagebrush graze the land, there lived a young woman of bodacious beauty. Her name was Farethee Well. Now her daddy was fixing to leave her all his worldly goods, a fine herd of longhorns, a corral full of horses, and the biggest spread in the great state of Texas. Look at all that land. On his deathbed, he said to Farethee Well, "Come and sit by my side." So she did. "Honey," he whispered, "when I'm gone and you're rich, men will flock here like flies to pralines, seeking your hand in marriage. Find a real cowboy who'll love you for yourself and not just for your longhorn herd." Well, sure enough, quick as you can say, "Set another place at the table," cowboys from hither and yon came seeking Farethee Well's hand. Farethee Well had herself a fine problem. How could she tell a real cowboy from a fake? She thought on what course to take. Then she recalled her daddy's words. "A real cowboy is known for his sensitivity. At the least touch, he'll bruise like the petals of a desert rose." Well, knowing that, she devised a plan. Whenever a caller came to ask her hand, she'd slip an itty-bitty black-eyed pea under his saddle blanket. Then she'd send him out on the range. Should he return fresh as a Texas morning, he was a fake. A real cowboy would be sorely troubled by that black-eyed pea. Well, one day, such a caller rode in. He was tall as a tree, with a mustache as big as tarnation. He wore spurs the size, do you see his spurs? They're the size of tambourines. "Marry me, ma'am," he said, "and I'll run this place for you." Without delay, she put him to the test. "Well, just ride the range today," said Farethee Well. "When you return, I'll give you my reply." Then, unnoticed, she slipped an itty-bitty black-eyed pea beneath his saddle blanket. The cowboy set out, mustache a-jouncing, spurs a-jangling. All day he roamed the spread like he thought it would soon be his. Then he returned fresh as a Texas morning, prideful as a rooster. Wow, and an airplane's coming in. Nothing to do with the story. "Marry me, ma'am," he said, swinging down from the saddle. "No, sir," said Farethee Well. "You're not a real cowboy at all." "How can you tell?" he hissed, mean as a snake. "I have my ways. Adios." Well, he'd never been adiosed like that before. "Hogs!" he roared, stomping his feet. "I didn't want to marry you anyhow." And he just cut out of there. Come daylight, another caller appeared, bristling with pistols and brag. He wore tooled leather, an overgrown neckerchief, and fringes galore. Real swagger clothes. Can you see him? Look at that. Look at his fringes. Do you see he's got little fringes? And oh my God, look at that giant neckerchief. He looks like a dandy. With the itty-bitty black-eyed pea hidden beneath his saddle, the cowboy set out, neckerchief a-flying, fringes a-flapping. At the end of the day, he returned fresh as a Texas morning and swelled with swagger like a horned toad. Ribbit. "Marry me, ma'am," he said, swinging down from the saddle. "No, sir," said Farethee Well. "You're not a real cowboy at all." "How do you know?" He glared with a look harder than petrified grits. "I have my ways. Adios." Well, he'd never been adios like that before. "Beans!" he roared. "I didn't want to marry you anyhow." And he just cut out of there. Look at him. So it was. Cowboys came and went, but none was a real cowboy. Well, one day, a rushing rain fell down as fast as to float the whole ranch house away. In the midst of the downpour, a young man knocked at the door. Rivulets of water gushed from his boots and over the porch like quicksilver streams. They ran so hard and fast, it seemed he was the very cause of the storm. "Mind if I sit out the storm here, ma'am?" he asked. Well, he didn't ask for her hand, but something about him gave her a notion. So she said, "My longhorns don't much like the rain. Would you ride out and check on them, then come right on back?" "Well, no trouble at all, ma'am," said the cowboy, and while he was pouring the rain from his hat, Farethee Well tucked an itty-bitty black-eyed pea under his saddle blanket. Scarcely had the cowboy reached the fence when the pea commenced to work at him. He touched his reins and headed on back. He swung down and checked the saddle. Something was almighty wrong with it, but he just couldn't figure out what. "Ma'am," he called to Farethee Well, "I believe I need another saddle blanket." Farethee Well fetched another saddle blanket. He piled it on top of the first one. Then he set out once more. As he rode along, he twisted and twitched. The saddle squeaked and creaked. Despite his squirming, he could find no comfort. So again the cowboy returned. "Ma'am," he called, "could you spare another saddle blanket? Something surely worked its way under my saddle, but I can't locate the culprit." Farethee Well fetched another saddle blanket, which the cowboy piled on top of the others, and he set out once more. Time and again he retraced his steps. Time and again Farethee Well gave him more saddle blankets, till he was sitting on no fewer than 50 saddle blankets, all stacked up like flapjacks. Look at that, like pancakes. Though the view was fine from the perch, the itty-bitty black-eyed pea was just a-working and a-rubbing and causing him no end of pain. The cowboy gritted his teeth against it, though he sorely needed more blankets. He thought, "This time I'll not go back. I got a job to do." And he rode out toward the herd. Well, the rain kept coming down. Lightning sizzled across the sky. Then a boom of thunder spooked the longhorns something awful. They set up a fearsome bawling and cut loose like a runaway locomotive. There seemed no way to control them. The cowboy and his horse were wedged between the cattle, so of course they took off too. Moo! Can you imagine the noise? Wow. Ooh-wee! It was a painful ride, jolting up and down on that itty-bitty black-eyed pea. It was a dangerous ride, too. Like as not, the rampage of longhorns would soon squash both man and horse. But the cowboy had a stroke of luck. Back at the ranch, Farethee Well had heard the thundering herd. Stampede, she thought, and she raced to slow it down. Right off, there she is. She saw the cowboy caught in the middle, high atop his flapjack pile of saddle blankets, unable to reach his stirrups. Even above the bawling cattle, she heard his groans of pain, all produced by that vexatious black-eyed pea. Oh, it hurt so he liked to die. Look at that. Uh-oh. Farethee Well lit out to save him. She cut right into the running herd. Ski-daddle! She whooped. Sure enough, those long herds ski-daddled every which way. Though the cowboy was saved, a more pitiful sight you've rarely seen. By now, he didn't look much like a real cowboy at all. But Farethee Well knew he was. Howdy, she said, attempting to smile. Howdy, he said. You don't look so good. Oh, fact is, ma'am, sitting on this saddle is like sitting on sheer stone. Excuse me. He eased down from the saddle. Farethee Well checked under the pile of blankets. Well, I declare, she cried, fetching out something not much bigger than a flea. It's nothing at all, just this itty-bitty black-eyed pea. Well, I'll be, said the cowboy. He was truly amazed. This time, Farethee Well never said adios, for soon they were married and set off on their wedding trip. The stars that night were big and bright as they saddled their horses and headed out. In front of them shone a full-blown Texas moon. Behind them, a full-grown Texas mule ambled along, piled high with saddle blankets, in case the need should arise. The end. Well, I hope you enjoyed The Cowboy and the Black-Eyed Pea. I sure enjoyed telling it to you. Till next time, my friends, have a good one. Have a good one. Bye, y'all.